Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Monday night edition of the Around the Ropes radio show. Now, you guys know we talk a lot about independent wrestling on our weekly show. And you guys know we talk a lot about with companies, in New York, Pennsylvania, Chicago. Well, we're figuring why not go more out west to the great state of Colorado for Rocky Mountain Pro. And we want to welcome to the show for the first time, Corey Elderton. Corey, welcome to the show. How you doing?
No, pretty good. Can't complain. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad we were able to get you on. Before we get into what's going on right now with Rocky Mountain Pro, what got you into wrestling? What made you a wrestling fan?
Uh, Pretty much I just kind of grew up watching it with my dad. Um, yeah, yeah, just always watched it as a kid. It's one of the only things that have always been relevant in life. Um, I don't think relevant was the word that I was trying to go for there. Yeah, it's just always been there. It's been a go-to.
Was it just something that you just been a lifelong fan of, or was there like a match that you remember watching with your dad, and it was like, oh, cool, I want to see more about this?
Um, Not really a match. The thing that comes to mind is I remember watching the Raw after WrestleMania 14, and yeah, after that I was like, Dad, we gotta watch this. Like, come on. And like my mom couldn't stand the shit. And she was totally against it, especially when, people are coming out crotch chopping and giving everybody the bird. And, yeah, she wasn't really too thrilled about it, but I was like, Dad, we gotta watch this. And like I was a diehard fan up until like maybe 2002 is when I kind of just like stopped watching it a little bit. Ended up getting into other things, and well, you just can't watch wrestling in general population and county. It's not really accessible on TV.
No, I trust me, I get it, and it's funny because I'm kind of in the same boat as well. I stopped watching about '02 when guys like Cena and Brock and all of them were first coming up. That's when I kind of dipped out, and then I didn't come back watching it until 2013, going into 2014. And I remember the storyline was before WrestleMania 30. This is right about the time when Punk left because he had the Rumble, and news came out. Obviously, we know news came out the next day that he left the company, and that they were starting the whole storyline with Daniel Bryan and the Authority. And
Okay.
that's what kind of brought me back in. And honestly, I haven't looked back, and I'm now going over 10 years.
Okay.
So I definitely so now, obviously, you do the camera work. How did you find out about Rocky Mountain Pro, or how that whole thing come up?
So it was like a couple years back. I was living in Fort Collins. Had the wife to be and the kids, and I was on Twitch, and Rocky Mountain Pro popped up. I was like, wait, what? No way. There's a wrestling company here in Colorado? Damn. And so like I started looking into it a little bit more, and like talking about it with the missus, and she was like, you will never have the opportunity to do that. You will never have a chance. You can't do what them guys do in the ring. I was like, okay, but what if there's a chance to be like a cameraman or something? She's like, no, you're like completely shot out. Like, get real. Like, and it, things didn't end up working out um, with her. Long story short, ended up losing family, um, along with lots of other things. And I came back to Colorado after getting out of the psych ward in New Jersey, staying with a friend for a couple of months. And I was like, actually, what it was is I had quit cold turkey off my medication, and I was like, damn, like I need to do something. I need to get into like a hobby or something. Um, like, I want to go check out a wrestling show. Wait, how can I top that? Get in the ring and try and be a pro wrestler. And that was that. I reached out to Mercury Gaden through an email, set up a tryout, and God, I will always remember that day. So I was thinking, like, on their website, like, it's posted all over the place, Al Snow Wrestling school affiliate. So I was thinking, like, Al Snow was in charge of running Rocky Mountain Pro.
Yeah.
So when I showed up to the tryout, like, I'm waiting for Al Snow. I'm excited. Like, I can't wait. He wasn't there. He never showed up. Instead, Mercury Yaden comes out and, he starts giving me the rundown on some things. And so yeah, actually, like 2 hours before I went in and did my tryout, I had actually gotten news that baby mom had lost custody of the kid. So that was some heavy shit to be weighing on my mind as I go into the opportunity of life. A couple months later, end up losing a job, can't really keep up with the tuition. But Aiden worked with me. I was like, hey, my money's real fucked up, but I would love to still help out. Is that a possibility? He's like, yeah, sure, just show up. And yeah, just kept on showing up. Ended up being useful as a cameraman. Ended up being good at it, and they ended up keeping me around.
So now, is it safe to say now, that pro wrestling, in essence, almost kind of steered you on the right course in life?
Yeah, definitely given me a purpose in life, something to live for. I think, yeah, since starting this, I probably only recall like one night of like serious contemplating of suicide. Um, yeah, I got a purpose. I got a reason to live for it. Like, I got to make it to the next show.
That's a good way to put it. We do have a comment coming here actually from Jen Strong, saying Rocky Mountain Pro is the funniest show with the biggest hits I've seen in pro wrestling. Must see event.
We got some good stuff to offer for sure as far as the live show. And we got a hell of a demanding schedule too, over 70 shows a year. You can't really compare it to the typical indie promotion that has an event maybe once a month or so. The experience that you can get at Rocky Mountain Pro, you could have like 6-7 matches in one weekend. And like, from hearing about other places, it's like you get 7 matches maybe within like 9 months, a year maybe. So there's a lot of opportunity for experience and just learning how to work crowd, camera, all that.
Believe me, I get that. It's funny. There's a company in New Jersey called ISPW, because you bring up, the fact that you guys have 70 shows. There's a company in New Jersey called ISPW, run by Tommy Fierro, and he does. I don't even think he does. He does. No, I think he does probably close to 70. I think he does shows like maybe once a week, but it's like he'll do like 4 or 5 shows. Like, I think he just put out a schedule. He has shows booked up all the way till, at this point, the middle of November already, almost end of November.
Of this year?
Of this year, yeah.
It's not bad. Not bad.
But obviously, you see it obviously from the what's the fan base like out in Colorado as far as because I know in New York and a lot of Northeast companies they're very they always say the Northeast crowd is the toughest. What's the crowd like out in Colorado?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a pretty good fan base out here. I wouldn't say tough. Crowd to please. Uh, probably. Man, I don't even know. No, just yeah, there's some good wrestling going on here in Colorado. Mainly the only thing you need to be keeping your eyes on is Rocky Mountain Pro. It unfortunately it's hard to get a crowd into our arena. But we go to some of these other bars and these other places, and we get maybe like the place has to start turning people away at like 1,200. We
Oh wow!
reach max capacity. We've been on a pretty good upward uh,
Yeah, momentum.
man.
I get what you're saying.
we got pretty good momentum going since really since I started, but especially since the beginning of this year. Yeah, a lot of people just don't know that we're here. Uh, I was actually training a guy at my shoot job today, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm all about wrestling and rah rah rah." And I was like, "Have you heard of Rocky Mountain Pro?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Damn it, dude! All right, so go to YouTube and subscribe to Rocky Mountain Pro. Check that out." Um, it's unfortunate because it really is a gold mine that we're sitting on, and but people just aren't aware of it. So we're trying to
Believe
get the
me,
name. We're doing a lot of good stuff. I mean, like I just said, like we go anywhere else, and yeah, we end up selling out.
believe me, I get the fact of people not knowing. There's a lot of companies that I work with in New Jersey that are in very similar situations, where it's like they put on great product and they have great shows, but they'll have 30 people in the crowd because it's like, well, we didn't know the show existed. And the one thing I always talk about on my weekly show is go support indie wrestling. That you're gonna sit there, and I talk about this constantly on my my weekly show. You're gonna sit there and spend hundreds upon hundreds of dollars to go pay for WWE or AEW, and you're not gonna get the experience. You're not gonna get a chance to meet the guys because what are you gonna meet them for? Maybe 30 seconds. I
If
mean,
you
if
like
you're lucky.
out back and stalk them for an hour or two, yeah, yeah.
So I've always said, if you go to an independent wrestling show, you're paying at best $30 for a seat. Sometimes maybe 40, especially if it's VIP and all that stuff. But you get to meet the wrestlers, and if you go to the shows consistently, you get to also form a friendship with a lot of these wrestlers. That when they see you at other shows, they're like, "Oh, how you doing?" All that stuff. And then when you're sitting there at your, on your couch watching Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, and Raw, and they happen to be in the area, you can sit there and say, "Oh, wait, I just saw him wrestle last weekend, or I saw him wrestle 6 months ago." So I've always said this: go support indie wrestling, guys. You're basically going to pay to see the future of the industry. That's the best way I can phrase it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to have guys like Cena, and these guys last forever. And I also hate to break the news to people. How do you think most of these guys that you see now on TV got their start? They didn't just magically decide to walk into a WWE ring and say, "I'm here. Let me try this out." A lot of them started off on the independent scene, with companies like Rocky Mountain and the companies in Jersey and New York, and they put the grind in. And that's what I'm trying to tell people is
to your brain on opioid addiction.
that that's what I'm trying to tell people though is that you have, I'm not saying you have to because to each their own. But if you're going to sit there and start complaining about, oh, ticket prices are too expensive, it takes you forever to get in, there's another alternative for you. It's called independent wrestling.
Yeah.
And I've been saying that for the longest time, at least in the 4 years that I've been doing this show. And we're about to hit 4 years as of this November.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's the one thing I've always pushed for. Is I've always pushed for when it comes to indie wrestling. I've said it for the longest time, and I'll continue to say it because I feel like people overshoot indie wrestling and look at indie wrestling it's the minor leagues, and I'm like, okay, let's look at it from the sports world. For example, look at any baseball team, the Yankees, the Mets, the Rockies. Most of those guys didn't just decide to become a baseball player like that. They started off in the minors. That's what indie wrestling. I mean, in layman's terms, that's what indie wrestling basically is.
Yeah,
it's the minor leagues.
You got to start somewhere. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the one thing I constantly will tell people is go to. I mean, yeah, you may not know a single wrestler on the card, and okay, fine. But especially now when we're seeing a lot of these guys from WWE and AEW showing up at these independent shows, you have a much better shot of meeting some of these guys that you see on TV if you go to an independent show because you don't know, they may be there for all you know.
Yeah.
But Corey, let me ask you this now: if you have somebody who's watching us tonight who's never seen Rocky Mountain Pro, what would you say is at least one or two reasons why they should come see Rocky Mountain Pro?
So you might be referring to as like coming to see us like live, but something that we are doing that is different than anybody else is our production. Like I stand on this completely, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, fire shots, nothing like that. Like our production is the best, hands down. All you got to do is take a look at it, and you will see how unique it is, and try and compare that to another company. And if somebody can give me like a comparison, that would be great because as long as I've been here for the year, like nothing else compares. As far as come and seeing us live, well, I mean, really, number one reason. The experience of pro wrestling live is just much different than seeing it on TV. It's just a whole nother experience themselves. Another thing, we got some pretty good talent coming through this place. Martin Cazales, he was with Lucha Underground for a little bit. We've had Cappuccino Jones come through. We're the only place in Colorado that's doing these WWE ID matches. MC Thatcher. You know what, real shit? You talk about seeing future stars on the independent scene. A name to look out for is Damon Ace. I really feel like that's going to be the next guy to have something to do with WWE. And we've the connections that Mercury Yaden has is like unreal, really. I mean, D'Lo Brown is with us every month. Um, let's see, Abaddon started out at Rocky Mountain Pro. Let's see, Lilith Graham, she's all over the indie scene right now. Uh, Goddamn Otis. I think Otis was there at one point. So yeah, it's probably the best place in the nation to really break into. Yeah, there's OVW. Um, Again, I'm gonna stand on this. Our production is better than OVW's. However, the guys that are in charge of our production at Rocky Mountain Pro, they also do stuff over at OVW out there in Louisville, Kentucky. Um, Christopher D.O. Smith and Chris De La Vega. Um, yeah, they are doing things for sure. Yeah,
No,
it's wild to think how, like I'm a part of something so cool. Like,
well,
wow.
I was about to ask you that. Now, you mentioned all these people like Abaddon and Otis, and you're a small spoke on the wheel. I mean, that must make you feel a little bit proud that it's like, well, I mean, great example. Cappuccino Jones is a prime example. He's one of the WBID guys. I think, if I remember correctly, I think he just won the WBID title.
I think I did good about that. Yeah, yeah. Um, it's to be able to say that I filmed those ID matches when they came through Golden, Colorado. Like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's it's not something it's not something that that most people can sit there and say. So, and especially the fact that you got to film, you were there when like I said before, Cappuccino Jones, who's now your WBID champion, was there. So, I mean, that's gotta give you. I mean, that's gotta make you a little happy there. But again, Corey, I'm glad we were able to get you on. I really, I enjoyed this a lot tonight. What do you guys have coming up that you like to promote?
Uh, so we got a pay-per-view in a couple of months. It's October. I want to believe. I want to say it's like October 8th. I don't know. I'm not even gonna give you a date because our schedule is so fucking demanding. But yeah, if we could get more eyes on our pay-per-view, more members on YouTube, a couple more followers on Rumble, yeah, that'd be great, man.
Well, Corey, what I'm going to do after we're done here, I'm going to put in the description the Rocky Mountain Pro YouTube page, the Rumble page. So if people want to check it out, they don't have to go search on Rumble. They can just go literally to the description box right below us and just click the link and it'll be right there.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. And again, Corey, I definitely want to have you on again, for future events as well. Because I think, like I said, I may be up here in the Northeast, but Around the Ropes is starting to get its name out there to a lot more people. So I would definitely love to have you on, down the road, my friend.
I would love to be back on too. And if I could say something real quick, so I do have a vlog that I do on YouTube. I've been doing it for a year now. I've been on YouTube for like a couple years, but really just kind of found my niche with documenting my experience with pro wrestling and Rocky Mountain Pro. Yeah, it's a vlog type style. Yeah, man. I lost thought. Anyways, Elderton Entertainment on YouTube. That's that's where you can get some of my stories from. A little bit behind the scenes stuff. Uh, yeah, but mainly it's yeah, if you can get that link to Rocky Mountain Pro. Get people there. That's good.
Absolutely, definitely, guys. Anybody who's watching this right now for Around the Ropes, definitely, if you want to catch anything of Corey's or anything from Rocky Mountain Pro, it'll all be in the description box below. And guys, go check out Rocky Mountain Pro. I mean, we just mentioned some of the names there, so you don't know who you're going to see there. You guys are mainly YouTube, or also what other platforms?
Yeah, so we're on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, uh, local cable here in Denver, Colorado. Actually, we're on like some sort of we're on like local cable all across the U.S. on certain channels. I did not do my research before coming on here, so I do not have that list of channels where you could find that at. But yeah, from Washington out to New York, some channels out there. Really, YouTube and Rumble is what we're trying to push right now.
Absolutely. And like I said, guys, if you want to catch anything from Rocky Mountain Pro, definitely check out them on YouTube. The link will be in the description box below us. And guys, we also have, as we wrap up here for this evening, we also have coming up this Wednesday, we have Billy Salio, I think is his last name. He is from Topps Card Company. So we're going to be coming on this week. So you're not going to want to miss that again, guys. Not only subscribe to Rocky Mountain, but subscribe to Around the Ropes. We are on YouTube. We're on Facebook. Just search Around the Ropes radio show. And also, guys, I do want to also make another mention. We're also back on Pro Wrestling Tees as well. So definitely stay locked down for that. I know as of now we have mostly our older stuff is on there. But in the coming days, we're going to have some new shirts on there, the new stuff as well. But Corey, again, I appreciate you coming on tonight, and definitely want to have you on again down the road.
Right on. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Guys, for Corey, I'm John. This has been a Monday night edition of Around the Ropes. Catch you guys soon.